Hey there, hope you're well. It mightn't be that easy to tell with the camera, but we've had quite thick fog this morning, so it is slowly lifting. Yeah, it was pretty cool early, but it's not too bad now. So Brennan's over, he's still packing fences up. Tony's here, he's been mooching around the shed here doing a few jobs, and he's just gone out where I think I have showed you guys where the pivot walks through the permanent fence out here in the loosen. We cut a couple of extra spots for the irrigator to walk through, a couple of the towers. So he's just out welding. We'd concreted the posts in ages ago, back when we did the slab for the new silos, or for the silos, not the new ones, but the ones we shifted home from the other farm, and we hadn't welded the stays up, so he's just out there doing that while hopefully the fog lifts and he'll go spraying. Yeah, we've got the weed over on the new rock to spray. I've just been here poking around. I'm going to make a start on these bushes and the shafts and that for the air cart. If you watched the last video, I haven't chopped any of this up. I've just sort of been just trying to get everything lined up before we sort of hook into it. Still haven't done anything with the welder yet, which I need to look at. I had a bit of a look last night. That welder's actually, it's 25-year-old, so shout out to Unimig, because it's been a really good welder. I had very little trouble with it. I need to get on the guys in Shepparton where I got it from and just see what's the go is, whether I can get some parts for it, for a new lead. I think it's in that plug there at the back on the wire feeder, so I'll have a bit of a play with it when we get going. Gave the lathe a good clean. Some of you guys did get stuck into me there a while ago because hasn't been very well looked after, so we've given it a clean down and given it an oil. So yeah, I have had it running this morning, just getting it warmed up. It sort of takes a bit to get going when it's cold. We've had a steel delivery from Nolinga Steel down in Shep. That's where we get the bulk of our steel and that from. So I had a bit of there's always plenty on the go here. So what we've ended up with. So we've got some 50 by 25 by 2.5 gal Duragal RHS here. So they're going to be the gates for where Tony's at the moment. For the pivot, we haven't actually done anything with that yet, so we'll make some gates up in time for it. We've got some 150 by 150 by 9mm RHS there. That's going to be the main axle frame. I'm going to for the air cart, and gonna build the casters and all that out of that. So it's what I'll be able to do is the current axle on the cart at the moment is 150mm, so we'll just be able to cut it off and weld these straight on. So that was, rather than I had some 200 by 100 there we were thinking about using. So, and the other stuff we've got here, that 100 by 100 by 6mm, we're building a strip till machine. So yesterday, a mate that's neighbour that grows a bit of corn as well, he's gone and bought a planter. I think I did mention this part of the reason we're doing this cart, but not the whole reason. His contractors stopped contract sowing that was planting for him, so he's gone and bought his own planter. And then we got talking about strip tilling and that sort of stuff, and we actually went out and he's got a fella I know as well, but mate that's got a heap of row crop gear, so tines, and I'm still trying to get my head around the whole row crop job yet. So yeah, he's got some tines and that sort of thing that I think we're going to grab, and he actually had a toolbar that he was going to let us grab to use, but what I remembered we had was this thing. So essentially we made this back a few years ago now to we actually pulled some of the disc units off the speed tiller and put them on here and used it as a wheel track renovator. We had a wet year, whenever it was, 2016 maybe was probably when we did it. So what I'm going to do is that 100 by 100, we're going to make a toolbar, make this stuff's only, I think the front one's 90 by 90 and the back one's 75 by 75, but it's all 5 and 6 mil. It's got plenty of guts about it. So what we're going to do is we're going to build a strip till machine. So I'll possibly buy some coulters to put on the front of it just to cut the trash, and then we'll have 8 tines effectively 30 inches apart, or 762 millimeters if you want to talk metric. And yeah, we'll use this in front of the corn planter for putting our fertiliser down, and we'll tow our air cart behind it. So yeah, there's a bit going on in that space. The other thing that's happened, and we're still trying to get our heads around it here at the moment, is, and there are a few meetings. I've got an email this morning about a meeting that's coming up. The rice industry they've decided that they can only handle 500,000 tonne crop across across all deliveries. 450,000 of that is the medium grain, so the variety we grow, and then there's 50,000 tonne of what they call specialty varieties. So what they're actually doing, and I think they're getting a bit of backlash about it, rightly so I think, they're actually going to cut everyone's tonnages by 75%. So how they work that out is, if you've grown rice, if your average delivery, your average of what you've delivered over the last 3 years. So we've only delivered last year or this year, so I'm not too sure how that's going to play out. But say hypothetically, in round numbers, if you delivered 400 tonne, that was the average over the last 3 years, they're now only going to let you deliver. Well, they're going to pay you the top price on 75%, so 300 tonne, and then that last 25%, they're going to pay, I think they said a maximum of $200 a tonne. So at $200 a tonne, it's not worth growing it. For us, that we're only growing 40 hectares, and I spoke to one of the rice extension ladies yesterday, they're sort of growing 60 hectares, so they're thinking, on their own farm, they're thinking they might grow, put in to sort of grow half specialty variety and half the medium grain. They're actually going to do a tender process for the specialty varieties, but for the medium grain, it's they're just expecting everyone to drop that 25% off, I think. So I don't know how it's going to play out. I think they'll find that blokes will, back in the heyday, the rice crop used to be, I think it got to 1.2 million tonnes was the top, and they used to say, well, 800,000 is our is how much they wanted, and now they're back to 450,000. Their argument is they've had 2 or 3 good years. They've got carryover rice year on year, and then other countries have come back online. California's back online after droughts and that sort of stuff. So we may not sow any rice at all. That's what I'm getting at. So what the bit of the trick we've got now is with this new farm, we've got extra water. So it's what we do with it. So we're just it'll be wait and see the next month or so. We'll get the rice double burnt probably the end of this month. We're sort of start of August now, and then we can some of it we could actually convert to corn pretty easily. We have grown corn in that rice country before, and that was a bit of the going for a drive yesterday. We had a bit of a look at some row crop gear as far as pulling beds up, which there's a bit of work in it actually. I sort of hadn't, a time when you're talking to the guys that are doing it. So, and we're probably a bit late to the game anyway. So the sort of northern block we got, it mirrors the flood bays that we've got set that we grew corn on last year, so we could move a few stops and flatten a few banks and put a few banks up, and it would probably work all right. And then we'd just probably leave the rest of it out and spend the summer doing something with it. So yeah, and what I'm thinking is where we've got the canola under the irrigator, we may even come in with a late corn in it, just so we can get our area up. So yeah, it's fun and games. It's always something. So anyway, we'll just see how it pans out. Things might change and it might be Ross, but we're not going to jump the gun just yet. Yeah, so anyway, we'll start and do a bit here. I've got a meeting this afternoon. We've got bugger all week for meetings actually, so don't have anything tomorrow, but all of Thursday's out. Yeah, and then Friday, I don't know what we're doing Friday yet, but yeah, we've got benchmarking meetings and that sort of stuff, counting meetings this afternoon. So yeah, it's doing content for you guys isn't that easy at the moment, but anyway, it's we're not. I don't think what we're doing is not that exciting, apart from this stuff, of course. So everyone loves a bit of workshop stuff. So, but yeah, there's meetings and that sort of stuff going on in the background, and yeah, when the weather's crappy, there's not much to see. You couldn't see the sheep out there, which you probably still can't see them because they're that far away. But yeah, visibility was 50 metres this morning, so yeah, it's not a lot of fun. But stay tuned, there will be something. Caveat on this, I'm not a machinist, I'm a welder by trade, so those of you guys that are new to the channel and you look at this and go, that's not how you do that, but it's how I'm going to do it. So anyway, so these are the bushes that'll go in the axle for the upright. I'll draw a picture at some stage and show you what I'm actually doing. So we're a couple 100 mil long. What I've done is I've put the steady on just to hold that, because we've only got effectively 30 mil grip with the chuck, so I was just a bit worried it might flop around once it got spinning. And then I've just set it up with a dial indicator. If you don't know what a dial indicator is, it's basically just got a pin, and you can see the needle move as I push it in and out. So I just set that up on the block there before, and essentially just spun it until it was pretty true, and then I can screw. We've got 3 points here with the steady. We can just screw that in a bit just to get it pretty true. So look, we're not precise by any stretch of the imagination. What I'm going to have to do is I've got the boring bar here now, because of our length of our bush. We're going to have to bore it from one end and then flip it over and bore it the other way. So tolerances are going to be a bit funny, but yeah, plenty of grease and that will be right. So yeah, we'll just see how we go. We'll try and get it as good as we can, but again, we just got to work with what we've got. But we'll get that faced off now, because our saw doesn't cut real square. We'll get that faced off and squared off, and then we can get into boring it. Morning. Apologies, we've sort of jumped around a little bit from the running at the lathe, standing at the lathe. So yeah, had a meeting. I didn't get back to doing anything in the workshop yesterday afternoon. Just with the meeting we had, it consumed most of the afternoon. Been into town this morning. One of the kids had a thing on at the school, so I've been and done that. Brendan's been setting up a bit of electric fence stuff over at our dairy block. I'm just here, just chucking a bit of fuel in the backhoe for him, and he's had an oil leak here on the backhoe, and I don't know what's happened. Whether someone's just clipped a tree or something with it. Anyway, the fitting was loose, but the O-ring's actually buggered in there. So I've got the O-ring kit here with me, and yeah, I'll get an O-ring in there for him, and he can get going, and then I'll go back and get into the workshop again. Just hang on. So yeah, good, no fog this morning. So Tony's here just spraying. It's quite smelly, this chemical. Yeah, just trying to chase some of the ryegrass in the wheat. So he'll get that done today, which will be good. And yeah, we'll sort of slowly. Tony's taking off tomorrow for a couple of weeks. He's having a couple of weeks holiday, which will be good. So, but yeah, I'll just show you. It's been a heap of dead trees and that limbs and that down in here, and the old fence along the commission channel. So this is our supply channel for our irrigation water. So yeah, so we just thought while we were going, and hasn't been heaps happening, we just get everything cleaned up nice and tidy, and then we can sort of move on to the next job. Then we've got a fair bit of cleaning up to do over here on the other block. It's sort of, when we bought it, it was a mess, and we spent the time to get the paddocks clear and that sort of stuff, but there's quite a lot of area there where fences haven't been packed up and that sort of stuff, so we'll get on and do that. But yeah, I'll get an O-ring for this, and yeah, we'll get it back together. I just got these service kits, or what they call a service kit, that one, and they just got metric and imperial O-rings. So these are probably a fancy O-ring. They'll be a high pressure one or something, but anyway, this will stop it leaking anyway. It's not. We'll see how we go anyway. I'll have a bit of a play here and see what we can work out. Try that one, so there we go. You can stay there. So it's on the cylinder that tilts the bucket, so fingers crossed it's all right. I might just do it up a little bit tighter, but it didn't seem to leak like it was. You can sort of see where it's been dripping away. So yeah, just keep an eye on it. But yeah, it's not the right O-ring, but hopefully it's going to do the trick and get us out of trouble till we can get a chance to get another one. Back at the workshop, so just got the lathe warming up. It's the noise you can hear. We'll get it fired up in a minute. What I've just done here, well, you're going to see that, but that's effectively just drawn up the drop leg for the caster. So we've got, this is the centre line of the axle that we've got there now. We've got where the tyre will be, and then we just come up and I'll just sort of working out how much clearance we'll have. Our tyres are about 1400 high, so I've allowed 100 mil above the tyre just for clearance. We could make that possibly a little bit more, and that'll allow us to get a bit better gusset in that corner. What I'm going to do, because this stuff's so damn heavy, I'm going to leave this axle the way it is. I've just got to cut that little brace off underneath there, and I'm going to leave it as one, and whether I get the telehandler or I've got a little engine crane there, that may even work, but I'm actually going to set it all up on here, and then at the end I'll cut it off. So yeah, but we'll get these bushes done up, and yeah, see how I can start and cut this bit of 150 mil then. Based this off yesterday, I didn't realise the carbide tip had the corner busted off it, so it did a pretty crap job, so I just running it off again, and I've got plenty of length, so I'm not too fast, but it's peeling it off a bit better this time round. Going. I've cut one of the upright shafts now, so we can use that as a gauge just to see how we're going for size. I will grab the verniers out in a minute and get it going. Got safety glasses on because hot stuff in the eyes doesn't go real well. So yeah, we're going to be a bit here while here. We've got to take a fair bit out of it, but yeah. To match that, but anyway, it's a lovely day for it. Anyway, we'll get to it. We'll just shut that down for a minute. I don't know what was going on. Podcast plenty. Yeah, wasn't sure what was going on. I'd get halfway through a cut and the lathe had just cut out, and you could flick the switch and start again. So it was, you know, it was like it had a short wire, or like a loose connection or something. So I've unplugged the power, and there's an isolator switch on the back of it, and then there was a couple of wires in that weren't loose, and it's just stopped again. Yeah, and I've taken the little cover off the top of the motor and power's disconnected, and there was a couple that were loose in there, and I've kind of little socket done it up, and it's given me a boot. There was still power in there somewhere. So anyway, that was interesting. The arm's a bit tingly, so but yeah, I had unplugged it, so I'm not too sure what the go was, but I don't know what's going on here. It keeps stopping on me, which is a pain in the bum. We've got there, so we've got 1.5 foot board. It's a little bit loose, but that won't matter. It'll shrink once we weld it in. It'll shrink down. I don't know what's going on with this lathe, but it's being a bit frustrating. I think it's in the switch. Just having a bit of a look at it, it just keeps cutting out, and then you can start it, stop it, and restart it, and it starts again. So what I might do, I might give a spa electrician a ring and get him to come and have a look at it. I've got plenty of other stuff I can do, but it's just it's taking twice as long as it should. Probably should just take these to town and get someone to machine them out, but you know, at 90 or 100 or 120 bucks an hour, to pay someone for what we need to do if the machine would work properly, it wouldn't take that long. So anyway, I've got half it done. I'll as I said, I'll give him a call, but I can cut the RHSs, and I might, that shaft, I've got to, it's a bit heavy, bear with me. We've got to bore a hole here, essentially to put that in there. So that'll go through there. We'll weld it top and bottom and plate it, and then that's what that bush will slide down over the top of that, and that's what it pivots on. So I've put some grease nipples and all that sort of stuff in it, but we might cut that RHS and just see. Again, the welder's not working, or hasn't been, so I might have to play with it so I can get it to go. We're limping, unfortunately. Anyway, we'll see what we can work out. So that's what I was sort of getting at before, if you weren't too sure what I was doing. So in time I'll just cut that off there somewhere. Again, that's the end of the stub axle. I sort of just wanted to stay away from it, so if we ever had to, you know, we did a bearing or something like that, we could get that stub axle out and replace it. So yeah, that'll come out, and then we've got this other short fella. I need to sort of work this out a bit, what we're going to do here. This top one with the shaft out of it, that's going to come off. You don't need to see me. So it's going to come out here, obviously, if you can imagine it. And then, but generally the casters are on a, not quite a 45-degree angle, but like perhaps a 30-degree angle. So they, yeah, just so when you reverse, they spin round. Like they're not, that upright isn't straight up and down. So I just need to work out, probably need to draw it out on the floor again. Yeah, just how that's gonna look. So then, effectively, what I'll do, I don't know whether I'll be able to hold it and show you at the same time. But why I've done, it's the worst thing with this stuff. It's that bloody heavy. So all I'm going to do is I'll just butt that in there. Butt that in there like that, and that'll give us our angle. And then yeah, we'll have that shaft will come out there like I was talking before, so I can cut those holes in there now. And yeah, now that's going to work all right. I can do the other side and effectively use that as a jig just to to get it all set up. But we're sort of a little bit snookered with this bloody lathe. But I actually spoke to a mate that does our Sparky work, fella I went through high school with. He did a Sparky's apprenticeship and I did a welding apprenticeship, and I was telling him about getting a zap out of it, and he was killing himself laughing. Apparently the capacitors actually in the single phase, I don't know whether it's the same with three phase, but the capacitors, which is a blue thing there, they actually hold charge, even when a bit like a battery, even when it's not plugged in. So of course I've shorted it, and that's what the charge was. So he was killing himself laughing because he's obviously he's had it happen to him too before. So anyway, so it had me a bit mystified because it wasn't plugged in and it's up to me. So anyway, I'll keep chipping away here for a little bit. I'll cut these other ones and might even cut the other shaft. But yeah, I want to keep that in. I'm just going to get another bit of that hollow bar that we've got. And essentially cut a ring, and I'll bore it right through there and just put a bolt there, just to stop it dropping out. Not that it's going to have to jump up a long way to drop out, but it'll just to keep it in there. I've got to keep it in there somehow, so that'll be the easiest to do. So we need to get this lathe going. I could actually use that one. You can see it's bored it halfway, so we could essentially put in the saw and cut off a couple of rings and then bore them, and I could get these things made up. But yeah, we'll just see how we go. It's not gonna, the way the days are ticking away, it'll be won't be much left. Well, I'll be running out of stuff. Sparky can't get here for a couple of days, so I can get this cut off and start and set it up. But the welder's miraculously started to work too, so I don't know what's going on there. There's obviously a loose wire here too somewhere. So anyway, it is what it is. All right, so I've got the other one tacked on. I've got both them cut. What I'm thinking, I might actually try and get onto a hole saw to cut those holes in there for that 2 1/4 inch shaft. So I do have to go. I think our local blokes could probably, tool joint bearing bolt place, could probably get one. So I might speak to them about getting you can actually get a hole saw like your normal hole saw would do it, but it'd be pretty slow going. Just like a hole saw like that. What we could do, I don't think they make a rotor broach. Like that's the rotor broach we use for the magnetic drill, and we've also got you can see that one that's in there now. I don't think they go that big. I've got a 50mm one. I and it'd be a fair job to use one of them and then die grinder to take it out bigger. It'd, yeah, because that's, you know, it's 10 mil thick, that thing. If it was only a bit of 3 or 4 mil, it'd be all right. I was going to try and show you what it is, but they're essentially got a carbide. They're a hole saw with a carbide tip. I do have I reckon I've got a 50 mil one that I bought for another job, so I might see if I can get one of them. They don't go very deep, but it'll be deep enough to do, as you can see, we're 10, 9 mil, I think. Goes deep enough for that. So it'll just be damn sight neater than doing them with the gas, and then you've got to clean them up with a die grinder anyway and tidy it up. But it's starting to take shape, so I just need to work that angle out, how much pitch to put on that. They look a long way, you know, they look bloody long, but anyway, I think they'll be all right. We can brace that up as well, because we've got we're going to have a bit that side. Oh, here's the supervisor. Chops has come to see what was going on. Anybody? Yeah, so it's starting to take shape. So got a meeting all day tomorrow. Got a benchmarking meeting with Farmenco, who I've spoken with another group of, I think there's 5, 6 other farmers, farming families coming. Actually, the meeting's actually here at home. And then we've got our sort of mid-year review with Farmenco, with Eric, in the afternoon. So tomorrow's sort of buggered with a meeting, or with meetings. And yeah, Tony's he's taken off for a couple of weeks holiday now, so it'll just be Brendan and I poking around. So Tony got that paddock sprayed, which was good. So I'll cross it again next week with a broadleaf spray. And the boys got electric vents and trough set up over on the dairy block, which I'll show you at some point in time what we're going to do over there, where we're going to put, I might put some corn in over there because it waters pretty well, and we've got the recycle dam and that there. So anyway, that'll do. Yeah, thanks again for watching. We're just, as I said, the content's a bit steady at the moment with what we're doing, just catching up on a few jobs, but this sort of stuff is, a few guys that have commented seem to like it, so it's easy to show you what we're doing. Sparky's hopefully coming to look at this lathe and get it sorted out. So anyway, righto, I'll leave you to it. Thanks again. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.